You are 18 years old. Your lungs are weak, your body is sick, and you are lying on a borrowed couch across the sea in Greece, far from Rome, when the letter arrives. Your hands shake as you break the seal. Your great uncle, the most powerful man in the world, the dictator Julius Caesar, has been struck down on the Senate floor. 23 blades, senators he trusted, men he forgave. And then the second blow, buried in the same letter. In secret, he adopted you. He gave you his name. He left you everything, the largest fortune on earth, an empire's worth of gold, the loyalty of legions. You are now the richest, most hunted teenager alive. Every powerful man in Rome wants you erased before you reach the city gates. You have a famous name, a sick body, and not one soldier of your own. You are Augustus Caesar, though no one calls you that yet. And this is the life you are about to live, a golden cradle with a shadow already stretching across it. But let us begin at the beginning.
You are not born in a palace. That is the first secret of your power, that the master of the world begins as a quiet boy in a dusty hill town called Velitrae, where your family grows wealthy but unremarkable, merchants and magistrates, not gods. Your father dies when you are 4. You are raised in the scent of olive groves and country bread, far from the marble and the murmuring of the capital. No one bows to you. No omen marks your cradle. You are, by every measure, an ordinary child of comfortable fortune. But the blood in your veins carries a name that will change everything. Your mother, Attia, is the niece of Gaius Julius Caesar, and the family you are born into, the Julii, do not claim descent from kings. They claim descent from a goddess. They whisper that their line flows from Venus herself, through the hero Aeneas, who fled burning Troy to found the Roman race. You are raised to believe that divinity runs in your blood like gold runs through stone. This is the weight pressed onto your narrow shoulders before you can even walk. You do not belong to your mother or to your town. You belong to a destiny that is centuries older than you. And the man who notices you is the most dangerous man who has ever lived. Your great-uncle Caesar has crushed Gaul, crossed the Rubicon, broken the Republic across his knee, and made himself the throne of the world in all but name. He has no living son. And when he looks at you, this frail, sharp-eyed, watchful boy who never speaks before he has measured the room, he sees something the great warriors around him do not have. He sees patience. He sees a mind made of ice. Quietly, without telling you, without telling Rome, he writes your name into his will and makes you his heir and his son.
You learn your first lesson about power before you ever taste it. A name is worth more than an army. The moment the world reads that will, you become Caesar. The dust of Velitrae is gone forever. You will never again be ordinary, and you will never again be safe. Because the same name that gives you the keys to the largest treasury on earth also paints a target across your chest. The men who ended your father by adoption are still alive. Brutus, who Caesar loved like a son, and Cassius, the lean and hungry mind behind the blades. They command armies. You command nothing but a signature. And worse waits closer to home. Caesar's right hand, the great general Mark Antony, a bull of a man, a soldier of real glory, beloved by the legions, has already seized Caesar's papers, Caesar's gold, Caesar's widow's house. He has decided that the inheritance is his. When he hears that a sickly 18-year-old boy intends to claim the name and the fortune of a god, he laughs.
He calls you a child who owes everything to a name. He has no idea that the quiet boy from the hill town has already decided to take it all. You learn your second lesson here, and it will rule the rest of your life. The ones who smile closest to you are the ones holding the blades. You will never forget it, not in 41 years of power, not on the day you draw your final breath. The throne is already yours. Now you must survive long enough to sit on it.
You are 18, and you walk into Rome with nothing but a name and a will. Mark Antony controls Caesar's gold, Caesar's veterans, Caesar's papers. He expects you to kneel. Instead, you do something no one believes a sick boy would dare. You go to Caesar's old soldiers directly. You look them in the eye and you pay them. From your own inheritance, from loans, from every coin you can scrape, you put gold into the hands of men who once marched for a god, and you ask them to march for his son. Within months, a teenager with no title has a private army, and the most feared general in Rome realizes too late that he has underestimated you. 3 fronts close around you at once, and you must hold all 3 or lose everything. The first front is the inner one, the court, the senate, the men who smile and circle. The second is the outer one, the rivals with legions who see your youth as weakness to be devoured. The third is the heaviest of all, the front of legacy. You are not merely fighting for survival. You are fighting to prove you are worthy of a name that claims a goddess for its grandmother. Fail, and you do not just lose, you disgrace the divine. So you make a choice that will stain you and save you. The men who ended Caesar, Brutus, and Cassius are gathering legions in the east. To crush them, you need Antony, the very man who wants you gone. And so you do the unthinkable. You sit down with your enemy. You and Antony and a third man, Lepidus, carve the Roman world into 3 slices and shake hands over the division. But this alliance has a price written in gold, and you pay it without blinking. You draw up the lists.
300 senators, 2,000 of Rome's wealthiest knights. Their names are posted in the forum, their fortunes declared forfeit, their estates and their gold seized to fund the war. Some are old enemies, some are simply rich, and you need what they own. The cold arithmetic is this: an army is the most expensive thing in the world, and the fastest way to pay for one is to take the fortunes of men who can no longer object. You learned in Act 1 that mercy is what got Caesar struck down on the Senate floor. You will not repeat his mistake. Where Caesar forgave, you erase. 300 names, 2,000 fortunes, 1 private army paid for entirely in other men's gold. While you sign away the richest men in Rome, a laborer in the same city earns a few copper coins a day, eats a bowl of gray wheat gruel called pulse, and will be fortunate to see his 25th year. The distance between you and the people you rule is not measured in money, it is measured in worlds. Then comes the test of the outer front. You sail east and meet Brutus and Cassius on the plains of Philippi. You are 21, sick, and so ill on the day of battle that you have to be carried from your tent on a litter. The master-to-be of the world, too weak to stand. And yet, by the end of it, both of Caesar's betrayers are gone, having chosen their own exit on the field rather than face capture. The men who buried 23 blades in your name are now dust, and you are still breathing. The lesson holds. The frail one who plans outlives the strong one who strikes.
But 2 predators remain on the board. Sextus Pompey chokes Rome's grain at sea, starving the city until the people riot in the streets, and one by one you grind him down. And then there is the last and greatest rival, the man who once laughed at you, Antony himself. Antony has gone east and fallen into the arms of the richest woman alive, Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, mistress of the only treasury on earth that rivals your own. Together they are a fortune and an army fused into one. You make the people of Rome believe that Antony has been bewitched, that he means to hand Roman glory to a foreign queen, that he has signed his loyalty away in a will that gives Egypt everything. You turn their love for him into fear, and then you go to war for the world itself. It ends at sea, off a cape called Actium. You are 32. Your ships pin Antony's fleet against the coast, and in the smoke and the burning timber, his cause collapses. Antony and Cleopatra flee back to Egypt, and within the year, both of them choose to end on their own terms, rather than be paraded through your streets in chains. The richest woman in history, the bull general who once mocked the sick boy, both gone. The board is swept clean. You are barely past 30 and you stand alone. There is no rival left alive who can challenge you, no army that is not yours, no treasury that is not yours. The three fronts have all fallen silent.
And now you make the decision that defines not your strategy, but your soul. You could declare yourself king. You could put a crown on your head and a sword across the Senate's throat. Every man expects it. Instead, you decide something far colder and far cleverer. You will hold absolute power while swearing you hold none. You will be the master of the world, dressed as its humble servant. You will let Rome believe it is still free, and you will own every breath it takes. The threats are neutralized. The fortune is yours alone. The blood price is paid. Now, at last, you are free to do what you were truly born for, to carve your name into the world so deep that 2,000 years will not wear it away.
You have the world. Now you decide what to do with it, and your answer becomes the single sentence history will carve on your tomb. You will say it yourself near the end. I found Rome a city of brick, and I left it a city of marble. That is your signature, not a battle, not a law, a city. You take the largest, filthiest, most overcrowded metropolis on earth, and you rebuild it into the showroom of the gods, and you pay for much of it out of your own bottomless purse. Understand what Rome is when you begin. It is 1,000,000 people crammed into a dark maze of mud brick towers, the insulae, stacked 7 floors high, with no glass in the windows and no kitchens inside. In the European summer, when the heat climbs past anything the poor can escape, the city reeks of open sewers, of wood smoke, and above all of garum, a sauce of fish guts left to rot in the sun until they liquefy, which the poor pour over everything they eat. This is the canvas, and onto it you pour fortune on a scale no ruler before or since has matched. You command armies of laborers, tens of thousands of them, to quarry gleaming white marble at Luna and haul it down to the capital. You raise temples, forums, theaters, baths, libraries. You build for decades across nearly your entire reign, and when you are done, the heart of Rome blazes white in the sun like a thing dropped from heaven. Your right-hand man, Agrippa, alone builds an aqueduct system and bathhouses so vast that ordinary Romans, for the first time, bathe in water carried from the mountains. You are not decorating a city, you are rewriting what a city is allowed to be. Now step inside your own walls and live one day at the peak of the only fortune in history, valued at $4.5 trillion in modern money. A man who personally controls perhaps a quarter of everything produced on the entire planet.
You wake on linen finer than anything a senator's wife will ever touch, in a bedroom kept warm by a marvel beneath your feet. While snow falls outside, your marble floor is warm enough to walk barefoot, because all night long, in the dark beneath your villa, servants feed wood into a labyrinth of furnaces called the hypocaust. The heat rises through hollow tiles in the walls and floor. You have, in effect, invented central heating 2,000 years early, and you spend the lives and labor of unseen people to keep your souls warm. Your eyes open onto frescoed walls and gold leaf. Your nose fills not with the city's rot, but with crushed roses, saffron, and cinnamon oil brought from the far edge of the known world, each spice worth more by weight than silver. Your hands are washed in scented water by slaves whose only task in life is your fingers. And then your clients arrive, hundreds of grown men, some of them rich in their own right, who line up at dawn simply to greet you, to be seen with you, to receive a coin and a word. The most powerful men in Rome queue outside your door like servants. That is what you own now, not just gold, but the mornings of every important person alive. Then the banquet. You recline on a padded couch, leaning on one elbow as the dishes come, and here the fortune turns grotesque. You eat the tongues of flamingos, harvested from the rose-pink birds for a single mouthful each. You eat sows' wombs, stuffed and roasted. And the prized delicacy of your table? Dormice, small wild mice, fattened in the dark inside clay jars, then fried and rolled in honey and poppy seeds, served as a sweet. The men reclining around you wear togas trimmed with a single color that announces their rank: Tyrian purple, a dye wrung from the rotting bodies of 10,000 sea snails for every small batch. The stench of its making is unspeakable. The price is not. A single pound of that purple wool costs 3 times its own weight in gold. The clothing on one man's shoulder is worth more than a laborer earns in a lifetime of gray gruel.
And here is the part that should freeze you.
You, the owner of all of it, dress like a farmer. While young senators drape themselves in Chinese silk, you walk through the marble you built wearing a coarse wool toga, spun by hand on a loom by your own wife, Livia. You invented what the modern world calls quiet luxury, the richest man alive performing humility 2,000 years before it became fashion. But your reasons are not gentle. You dress plainly so the people will not resent you. You dress plainly so that no one decides you have grown too grand and ends you the way Caesar was ended. 3 numbers should stop your breath. First, when you swallow Egypt, you do not give it to Rome. You fold an entire country, the breadbasket that grows 1/3 of the world's grain, directly into your own personal account, and no man may even set foot there without a pass signed by your hand. Second, when you haul the pharaoh's gold back to Rome in cart after cart, you flood so much physical treasure into the market that the going rate of lending across the world collapses from 12% to 4%, and the price of every piece of land in Italy doubles. You cause the greatest economic shockwave of the ancient world simply by opening your wallet. Third, 4 separate times in your life, you reach into that wallet and hand 400 coins of silver to each of 250,000 citizens on the same day, a fortune scattered into the streets because a city that eats from your hand never reaches for your throat. You pay from your own purse the wages and pensions of 300,000 armed soldiers, and they swear their oath not to Rome, but to you. You keep 9,000 elite guards, the Praetorians, paid triple the common wage, sleeping on the walls of the city, waiting for nothing but your word.
And then comes the peak of your glory, in the conquered city of Alexandria. They lead you to the one tomb that matters, the glass coffin of Alexander the Great, the conqueror you have measured yourself against your whole life, lying preserved 3 centuries after his end. The air is thick with spices. You lift a crown of solid gold to lay upon his head, and your gloved hand slips on the glass. A dry crack. You have broken the nose of your idol's corpse. The priests freeze in horror, and you, with the cold boredom of a man who owns the world, wipe your hands on your toga. When they ask if you wish to also see the tombs of the ancient pharaohs, you spit the words, "I came to see a king, not a row of corpses." You turn your back and walk out. That is the summit. That is the moment you are most fully the master of everything. You are the richest being who has ever drawn breath. You have rebuilt the world in marble, and you have looked into the face of the only man you ever envied and found him beneath you. But the higher the marble rises, the longer the shadow it throws, and the shadow has begun, very quietly, to reach back toward you.
Here is the truth the marble hides. You are the most frightened man in the world. The 23 blades that ended Caesar never leave you. You walk into the Senate smiling, gracious, the humble first citizen, and beneath that plain wool toga, pressed against the skin of your belly, you wear a shirt of steel and bronze. Every man who bows to you might be the next Brutus, so you never let a single thing pass your lips that another mouth has not tested first. You keep a guild of tasters, and the ritual is the same at every meal. A slave eats from your plate, drinks from your cup, and you wait. You watch his face. Only when enough time has passed and he has not fallen do you reach for the fig, for the wine, for the bread. The richest man alive cannot trust an apple. And the fortune that buys you everything cannot buy you a quiet mind. You are terrified of thunder, a clinical shaking dread of it. And when the sky darkens over your marble city, the master of the world runs for a windowless room beneath the ground and clutches a piece of sealskin to his chest, because your magicians swore to you that the heavens never strike a seal. You stand barely over 5 feet tall, and you hide cork lifts inside your sandals, so you will not look small beside your generals. Your skin burns and itches so badly that you scrape yourself raw with volcanic stone to make it stop. This is the body that owns a quarter of the planet, sickly, sleepless, armored, hiding. But the cruelest cage is the one your own dynasty builds around you. You have all the gold in the world and no one to leave it to. One by one, the heirs you groom to inherit the empire are taken from you, your young nephew, then your most trusted friend, then both of your beloved grandsons, gone before their time. Every time you choose a future, the future is erased, until the only man left standing to receive everything you built is Tiberius, Livia's son, the one heir you never wanted. You are surrounded by family, and you are utterly alone, because in your house no one waits for your love. They wait for your last breath.
And then there is your daughter, your only child by blood, Julia.
While you pass stern laws punishing betrayal of marriage with exile, while you perform the role of Rome's moral father, Julia lives exactly as wildly as she pleases, holding her own court of lovers in the open, on the very steps of the forum you built. When it can no longer be hidden, you do not forgive her. You cannot. Your whole power rests on the lie that you are virtue itself. So you erase your own daughter from your life. You banish her to a volcanic rock in the sea, no larger than a courtyard. You forbid any man to come near her. You forbid her a single drop of wine for the rest of her days, and you never look upon her face again. You ruled the world, and you could not bear to be in the same room as your own child. You were born needing to ask no one for anything, and that is precisely why, when the world finally cracks you open, you will not know how to ask a single soul for help. That moment comes when you are past 70 and certain you are untouchable. On a night of rain, a rider tears through the palace doors, caked in mud from the forests of Germania, shaking. The news shatters everything. Your general, Varus, led 3 of your finest legions, 20,000 men, straight into a trap in a dark forest, and they are gone. Every one, lost in the mud and the trees. The 4.5 trillion fortune cannot buy back a single one of them. And so the master of the world breaks. For 6 months you refuse to bathe, to cut your hair, to trim your beard. In the dead of the cold nights, the guards hear something that freezes their blood. The sound of the old emperor, in rags, striking his own head against the heavy oak doors of the dark palace, crying out into the empty marble halls, "Quintilius Varus, give me back my legions!" The gold is still there, the empire still stands, but the man inside the crown has been shown the one thing his fortune was never able to defeat. And the end now is no longer a question of if, only of when.
You do not fall in battle. You are not struck down on any Senate floor. You reach 75 years, an age so rare in your world that people half believe it is sorcery, and you slip away in a wooden bed in a villa in the south of Italy in the suffocating August heat. Whether it is simply your worn-out body, or whether, as the elites will whisper for centuries, your own wife Livia painted something onto the skin of the fresh figs still hanging in your garden so that you would pick them yourself and fade away naturally, clearing the path for her son, no one will ever prove. You cross over quietly, surrounded by more gold than any human had ever owned. But you refuse to leave as a frail old man drooling on the linen. Image was always everything. In your final hour, you call for a silver mirror and for cosmetics, and you order your servants to comb your thin hair, to smooth your pale cheeks, to paint youth back onto your face. Then you have the doors opened and you let the Senate and your oldest friends file in, the very elite you ruled with an iron hand for more than 40 years. You look them in the eye, and with a smile in the corner of your mouth, you deliver the line you borrowed from the closing of a Greek comedy. Have I played my part well in this comedy of a life? Then applaud as I leave the stage. You kiss your wife, and you are gone. And here is the cruelty of it. The world you built does not follow you with honor. It rots.
The throne passes to Tiberius, the unwanted heir, who ends his days a bitter recluse on an island. After him comes a young madman the soldiers nicknamed Caligula, who drains the treasury you spent a lifetime filling and is cut down by his own guard inside a palace corridor. Then a stammering uncle no one wanted. And finally, Nero, your own blood, your last direct heir, who sets fire to his name and his family alike, until he is the last of your line and the dynasty you bled for simply ends. The richest house in history gone in 4 generations.
the gold scattered into other men's wars, the careful marble cracked by the very descendants you trusted it to. Yet, your name does not die, it does the opposite. Caesar becomes the word for ruler itself, Kaiser, Tsar, for 2,000 years. Augustus becomes the title every emperor after you must claim. The month of your greatest victories is renamed in your honor, and the world still calls it August today, every single year, without knowing it is saying your name. You won the only game that mattered. You lost everyone you loved playing it. So here is the question. You were handed the largest fortune that has ever existed, and you turned it into something that outlived your empire, your dynasty, and your gold, your name on the calendar of the entire world. But you bought it with your daughter's face, your peace of mind, and 40 years of fear beneath a steel shirt. If the throne had been offered to you, the gold, the glory, and the cage all together, would you have reached out and taken the figs?